Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the people's resentment against. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that. So, we arranged for a second group to.
So, you mean the ones who scoured the.
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest.
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Furina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and also that as...
Yes, that is...
Well, Clorand, I must commend you. Thank you. As for you, traveler, I suppose you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived on... Oh? Is that... It's fine. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Madam Prosecutor, please allow me to This is a document.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, oh, Leb Hymansi. Isn't this the exclusive interview that she did with us before? So she's already finished it, huh? Oh, wait. Then that means this document is a... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, all right?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duels you took. I didn't think that you... A Fatui Harbinger, the Fortress of Mir... According to Monsieur, I nearly lost the words of someone as extraordinary as a witch.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on! Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. Of course, it is only now.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the...
Wait, what was that? Lady Furina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right?
Charge accepted. Lady Furina, do you plead guilty? Lady Furina.
I plead not guilty. There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Furina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true
Yeah, even though Lady Furina can be rather eccentric.
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever... See? Even the if you wished.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh?
Well, and if I
curse. But in light of this plane,
Neverlet sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina. Well, it is true that.
Well, don't start. Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority.
Yeah.
Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why for centuries, manifestations of one need only to turn their eyes towards the
That doesn't sound right. You tried to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time?
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstance. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution.
I never.
That was no trick of
So, you neither knew why Child, instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned.
The real Hydro Archon. It is true that I didn't, but the Oratrice handed. You can't argue.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses.
My power.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection.
You don't need to go.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive. Thus did I give up all of my
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how.
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's
Hey, come now, everyone! Please don't stare at me as if I was I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you... Please? You've got to believe me!
If what the prosecutors...
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Enough! That's enough! Tell me then, if you have no evidence of
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson, including those of some of... So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of the seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching the seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse.
Yeah.
Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
একটা ছোট্ট বাইকটা দিয়ে দিতে পারি একটা ছোট বাইক একটা ছোট বাইক
তোমার বাইকগুলো অনেক বড় বড়।
ছোট বাইক
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
I love this too much.
Lady Farina, this test has been...
Well, of course he had to tell her that.
She's just staring at the...
What's going on? Is she really...
Due to the inherent risk of the...
What?
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you
Miss Siegewin?
Siege?
Wait, don't be nervous.
Please announce...
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina, she was experiencing...
Thank you, Miss Siegewin.
Oh, wait. What did she just say?
Well, considering you... However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve in... We don't want anyone...
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, it's a great thing that...
I can't believe... Listen to me, everyone. Think about it. Also, if I... Please, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
I don't think anything she says at this...
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway her. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct?
However, to be punished...
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available...
The one and only time that...
Farina's been sentenced to...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as... Is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't...
Indeed. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does...
If I may interrupt, is the trials?
Fremine! You finally made it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to...
I looked everywhere, but has the trial already concluded?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen...
Huh? So what do you see?
I believe I've now made...
Huh? So when you say...
In truth, however, I'm uncertain that...
Okay, let's try... The first stone slate describes what you... Does that mean that Fontanians are the second stone slate? This must be the point where the third slate shows the Hydra... Huh. Well, the fourth slate... We didn't believe that such...
We know from the case of the and the first stone that
That doesn't sound...
perhaps what is about to It's not as simple as falling into the sea. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon. The prophecy from the fortress of Meropede was nearly flooded with primordial seawater.
They'll
which we
dissolve
know
into the
can cause
primordial
Fontanians
sea,
to
but
dissolve.
won't cease to exist.
It seems
Their
increasingly
essence will
likely
flow
that
in
the
the
prophecy may
seawater.
come true.
Convert. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court. Shocking. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropede was the sure... The stone slate's content can... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now, but...
Let's hear them.
Incredible.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be... Oh, and according to Navia...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably anchored Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was create.
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon...
Yeah! So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into this... In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know. However, while you were able to decode all the information... When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the... Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make it... I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanian. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings. and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, express to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a... However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanid's blood vessels, creating humanoid... But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea... Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people...
So we were all...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death?
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was a key point of the They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in... The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolize... You may also recall Navia's experience. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the... Yes.
I think I'm following. In truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
What should we do? If that's the case, does that mean...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your... About the fourth slate. However, I believe that rather than being a sure... As for the root cause of the catastrophe... This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
This is the best thing. I never tasted. Not hot. Entire. Yes. Yeah.
It was both dream
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
the truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the opera house? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I I understand that whale does not belong to Tevat. It has been greedily consuming and once it has finished consuming all...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanian. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea...
We just barely managed to push it back.
That is correct. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature...
That battle maniac. We've always... Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial seas. Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could...
That's not something We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far.
Indeed. That's not how a grand
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes. What has been prophesized will be fulfilled. Just as prophecies are usually ultimately, fate shall... What's happening with the Oratrice?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
ভালো না খাচ্ছি করে দেখ তেল রুটিরা পরে কাচ্ছি না একটা কাচ্ছি না